These are the top 10 restricted Pokemon to watch out for as we go into the weekend and as you prepare for Utrecht's Regional VGC Championships. Now, ladies and gentlemen, need I say more? This is what I believe the last or second to the last regionals before the World Championships itself. So if you're looking to secure yourself some good points to qualify for the World Championships, this video is for you. Let's get right into it. So the first restricted, and we're going to go in order from 10 all the way up to number 1. Number 10, I'm going to have to put Dialga in here, especially Origin Dialga. What can this Pokemon do for you? First of all, telepathy telepathy is really good to pair up with someone like Ursaluna, so Ursaluna can just, earthquake freely, right? So you're looking at Protect, you're looking at Trick Room. You're gonna want to run definitely Flash Cannon, right? There's a lot of fairy Pokemon out there, so Flash Cannon is always nice. And Dragon Pulse, because you want consistency with this Pokemon. It's probably going to be on the field for a lot, and you're probably going to want to go max special attack, max HP, go with 0 speed IVs, so you're moving the slowest in Trick Room. You're relatively fast, so if you can get a really low IV Pokemon, that's going to pay a lot of dividends. And you usually want to pair this up with a Moongus, Screens. You could even pair it up with Lunala as well to form that Moon Room core that won Milwaukee Regional Championship. So yeah, guys, Dialga definitely a top threat to look out for. Number 10 in our list. All right. Okay, now let's move on to number 9. Number 9 is Groudon. Groudon, the OG Sunsetter. Now, Groudon's really good this time because Sun is really threatening, especially with Pokemon like Raging Bull, Pokemon like Fluttermane. It's a really good archetype, right? And you can build a super Sun team, and believe me, I've actually seen this on ladder. I've seen some Groudon and Koraidon teams. All right, if you actually watch some of my previous videos, you see we've actually entangled a few of those in battle. And of course, you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on teams if they don't have weather support. You're doing a lot of damage. You're threatening with a lot of speed, depending on the Pokemon you bring. So yeah, I think Groudon is definitely someone that you should consider. You can even, I've actually seen some choice specs Groudons that just come out there and just erupt. That's something to look out for. It's definitely possible. I know it doesn't sound feasible given the 100 special attack, but hey, this is higher than Torkoal's special attack, and if Torkoal is able to do a lot of damage with 80 base special attack, then Groudon is going to do a lot of damage with 100 base special attack, so look out for that. But the usual Groudons you're going to see are the ones that probably are carrying the Clear Amulet item. There's Protect, there's Precipice Blades, there's Heat Crash. We're also sometimes this Pokemon is paired with Sableye and Lunala. And what the Sableye does is it uses gravity, and then if you hit the Sableye, Eject Pack boot takes it out, and so now you have a Lunala that's going to be threatening with Hypnosis, and you have a Groudon that's going to be threatening with 100% accurate Precipice Blades. So it can be very, very threatening if you're not ready for it. So I think this is definitely something that you should definitely keep an eye out for. The Heat Crash. Some of them even carry Swords Dance. Some of them carry Thunder Punch for Pelipper. So I'd look out for that. And depending on what kind of team you're running, you could go slow, you could go fast. If you're running a Trick Room team, you can go really slow, get min IVs, and try to maximize your damage while maximizing your bulk as well. So yeah, there's number 9, and that's Groudon. Number 8 is gonna be Zacian Crowned. Now, I really like Zacian. I know it got nerfed a lot with the Intimidate. That's obviously going to be a thing for it to worry about. And the fact that its ability only procs once per battle. But Zacian is really good at what it does, right? If they don't have Intimidate on their opposing team, you have a really, really fast Pokemon who's going to be coming in with +1 attack. And this is a really big threat to Miraidon especially, right? Because, one, Behemoth Blade, yes, that's not gonna be very effective against the electric type, but your Play Rough, especially if you go Terra Fairy Play Rough, that's gonna be doing a whole lot of damage, right? Behemoth Blade +1 Behemoth Blades OHKOs a lot of Pokemon, even the bulky Pokemon. Like this thing one-shot my Amoonguss. It one-shot my Indeedee female, and these are Pokemon that are bulky. Especially my Amoonguss. I was surprised when it got the OHKO. I was like, damn, are you really that strong, Zacian? But yeah, so typical set you're going to see is Play Rough, Iron Head, which transforms into Behemoth Blade, as I'm sure you all know. And then here it could be Sacred Sword. I've seen a lot more Sacred Sword than Close Combat, because Sacred Sword does target the special defense of the Pokemon, so that helps against bulky Pokemon like the brother of Zacian, Zamazenta, which we're going to talk about soon. But yeah, guys, Zacian is definitely a Pokemon to look out for. It's usually paired with Kyogre. And what you're doing with the Kyogre and Zacian is that you're forming a really good synergy between both of those Pokemon. You know, there's Water Spout, obviously, to threaten the fire and steel types that resist Zacian's stabs. So yeah, those two can be really, really good together. In fact, I ran into a team that was running with this. I was able to win the battle, but if I wasn't prepared, if I didn't lead right, Kyogre and Zacian could have just blown my team away, right? So definitely a Pokemon to look out for. Okay, that's our number 8 Pokemon. All right, number 7, we were just talking about it, Kyogre, the OG water spouting threat. Now, I kid you not, the threat of Water Spout is one of the most threatening things in the metagame right now. It can literally sweep through teams that are not prepared. If they don't have resists, if they don't have something that can neuter that Water Spout damage turn 1, right, you most likely gonna lose. I've seen Terra Water Helping Hand Water Spout OHKO a dragon. Let me say that again. I've seen Terra Water Helping Hand Water Spout in the rain OHKO a dragon. And it wasn't just any dragon. It was Kyurem White. Okay? And it hadn't terrestrialized. So it resisted the damage, but it still got blown back. Helping Hand Water Spout will OHKO most water types that aren't super bulky. Right? So if you're not prepared for Kyogre going into Utrecht, I think you're making a big mistake. So you're going to want to load up on grass types. You're going to want to load up on dragon types that are faster than the Kyogre. You want to load up on someone like Rillaboom, who threatens before the Kyogre can hit you with that full power Water Spout. So it's definitely something to look forward to. Choice Scarf is my favorite set personally. It's the set that I use on my teams usually. You know, you want Water Spout, obviously. That's your strongest stab. You want Origin Pulse or Hydro Pump. Because of the rise in Zamazenta, I personally went with Hydro Pump. Of course, right, that's 80% accuracy, so you're gonna have to live with the results of that. Whenever you're using a move like that that doesn't hit all of the time, you're gonna have to live with you missing during pivotal turns, and that possibly costing you the game. So it's a choice you're gonna have to make. And then obviously Ice Beam is always nice to have, and Thunder is always really great to have as well. Okay, now in terms of what kind of EVs to go with Kyogre, if you want to outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider, max speed Calyrex Shadow Rider, you have to go Timid. Modest doesn't do it. All right, so you have to go Timid, max speed. This way you're outspeeding max speed Calyrex Shadow Rider, and as a result of that, you're gonna also outspeed Zacian as well. Right, so I say always go max speed Timid. You're gonna lose some damage obviously because it's not max special attack, but it gets the job done. It gets the job done, especially if you go Terra Water as well. It gets the job done. All right, so that is Kyogre. Now moving on to number 6 on our list, we have Zamazenta. Now again, what a rise this Pokemon has had. Why is it so good this year? Wide Guard, guys. Wide Guard, combined with the fact that it gets body press now, with a Pokemon with this kind of bulk, 140 base defense, if you really want to go all out, you could even max this out, go just go a boosting defensive nature. I'd say most likely go for Bold, because no, Bold don't do it. You're gonna be using probably your Behemoth Bash, I think it's called. But yeah, you want plus defense for sure. Let's put the plus sign and hope that that works. Nope, not that one. Plus, and then Yeah, maybe minus negative attack here. Uh, does that work? Yep. So impish, yeah, that's the nature. So impish, a lot of them want to go max speed or close to max speed because that helps. It definitely helps when you're going up against some faster Pokemon, especially if you're running with the iron defense. The iron defense Zamazenta is really threatening because your body press is going to be doing a whole lot of damage. So the Pokemon that this likes to pair up with, Calyrex Shadow Rider, I'm sure you guys know how threatening this duo can be. You have the Zamazenta protecting the Calyrex with the fighting type damage. What does the CSR, which is Calyrex Shadow Rider, what does it not like to see? It doesn't like to see dark types. What does Zamazenta specialize in? That body press, it blows back your dark types, all right? The Wide Guard protects your CSR from opposing CSR, right? This Zamazenta also protects your Pokemon from Calyrex Ice Rider. And I'm a Calyrex Ice Rider user. I use it on all my teams. I've been using it for so long, and I don't like going up against Zamazenta because Wide Guard is always going to be threatening and it's going to be annoying. And then, you know, the Steel type, Fighting type, that resists your Ice type attacks too, right? So depending on what you want to run, you can go Iron Defense. You can go Behemoth Bash as well. It's not necessarily there for damage, but it's there to chip at Pokemon that resist or are just outright immune to your body press, right? So yeah, Zamazenta is really good at what it does, and that's our number 6 Pokemon. All right, now let's move on to its best partner, I believe, and that is Calyrex Shadow Rider. Now, Calyrex Shadow Rider I'm putting at number 5 because I know it's one of the best restrictors for sure in the metagame. It's strong, it's fast, it can easily snowball, but because of the way the meta has developed, because everyone's prepared for Cali Shadow, I think that has knocked down its effectiveness pretty much, right? You have the rise of Zamazenta with Wide Guard that neuters what Calyrex Shadow Rider can do. You have Incineroar doing what Incineroar likes to do in the metagame, and that's being a nuisance to Pokemon like Calyrex Shadow Rider. You have Pokemon like the Ice Cat. I'm blanking on its name. The ice spinning one. Beads of something. I forgot its name. But I'm sure you guys know the saber-toothed Ice Cat. That's Ice and Dark. It's a big threat to Calyrex. You have Urshifu Dark, which is always there and always a problem. And you have the Rogue and the common Terra Normal, Terra Dark Pokemon. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult for Calyrex Shadow Rider to do what it likes to do, and that's just snowball teams. So yeah, I'm going to put Calyrex Shadow Rider in number 5. The most common set I'd say would be the Focus Sash, so I'd keep an eye out for the Focus Sash. And then there's Protect, you know, there's Astral Barrage, that's always a must. And then depending on its team members, the other 2 moves are up to what the team really entails. If you're running in DD Female, you want to put Expanding Force. That can do a lot of damage, right? If you're not running in DD, then you probably want to go with Psy-Shock, okay? And then here you can go with Nasty Plot. I've seen some people go here with Encore, which can be pretty effective if you're trying to neuter the opposing team, right? I've seen Rogue Pollen Puff even. I saw Pollen Puff being used to knock out my Indeedee one time. It was definitely shocking, and obviously this is super effective on Dark type, so it's a effective strategy if used at the right time. It's probably more niche than anything, so I wouldn't really consider it unless it's something that you feel your team needs. So yeah, I've even seen Calm Mind Calyrex Shadow Rider as well. That can be very effective in battle. And the Terra type that you find common, Terra Ghost I've seen Terra Dark, I've seen Terra Fairy with Draining Kiss, which can be really effective, especially against Urshifu Dark. You can just surprise it and just resist its stab, and then all of a sudden you threaten the one-hit KO with Draining Kiss, right? So this is definitely a Pokemon I'd be prepared for, and the only reason it's not effective is because the metagame has so well adapted to it. That's why it's not able to do what it does. It doesn't mean it can't run through your team. If you're running a team that isn't prepared to take on Kali Shadow, you might be one of those guys that just gets blown back by the Kali Shadow Rider. So definitely something to be ready for. A lot of them are running timid. Expect to find bulkier variants during the regional championship this weekend. It is what you find does when Pokemon like this aren't as effective because of their speed and special attack. The next level that they usually go to is more bulky sets that are able to survive hits, more defensive Terra types like Terra Water, Terra Grass, that's able to give them more lasting power so that they can start to snowball, maybe not as fast or as, instantly as this Calyrex Shadow Rider would, but as the game progresses and as more turns go, it gives this Calyrex Shadow Rider more opportunity to kind of snowball the game, and that's why I put Calyrex Shadow Rider at the number 5 spot. Now, in the number 4 spot, hold on. Okay, so we're gonna have to come here and restart everything. All right, it's my first top 10, guys. Bear with me. So number 4, I'm gonna put Koraidon. Why Koraidon? Hey, you gotta shout out to Wolfie for this one. Sun and Koraidon and what it's able to do if you maximize on output. Very strong Pokemon. If you pair Koraidon with Groudon, now you've got dual Sun. There's not really a typing overlap except for the ice weakness. You're looking at a really, really strong core, and your Sun is almost always present, right? And I faced a team that had Koraidon, Groudon, and I found it difficult to punish. I was eventually able to win, but it was a difficult team to punish just because of the nature of the team, right? You have dual Sunsetters. Koraidon's very, very strong. Life Orb is what Wolfie put on his, and I feel like that's probably the best bet, because even with Intimidate, with close combat in the Sun, you're still going to knock out a dark type like Incineroar, right? You're still going to knock it out. You always want to run Flare Blitz. This is really strong, especially when you go Terra Fire. This is a really, really strong attack in the Sun. Like, there's not a lot of things that are taking this hit. Okay, now in terms of what you want to put as the filler move, it depends on what your team has. Wolfie's Koraidon went with Flame Charge, which is pretty good, right? It gives you that speed boost, especially when you're up against a really weakened Pokemon. You can just get a quick knockout and all of a sudden you're at +1 and you're threatening a lot of damage and you're outspeeding everything on the field, right? You can also go Breaking Swipe if you're trying to play more defensive. Okay, Dragon Claw is another move you can go for. It's niche, but it can be effective, especially if you're going up against like a Pelipper or a Pokemon like Giratina, which, given its typing, which is the Ghost and Dragon type, would completely wall a set that doesn't have Dragon Claw, right? So you want to definitely pay attention to that. Teammates that Koraidon likes: Flutter Mane. It likes to run with Walking Wake as well. It can run with Groudon, like I said. It can run with Skiploom, I think it's called. Chlorophyll Pokemon, pretty much, right? You're looking at the Executors of the world. You're looking at the I'm usually good with names, guys, I promise. The Fighting and Grass type Lilligant, Hisuian Lilligant. It's really good with Pokemon like that, so definitely something to watch out for as you're approaching Utrecht. Now, number 3, surprise, surprise. This is actually surprising, but I'd say Miraidon is number 3, which is still pretty high up there as in the top 3. But I hesitated on whether or not to put it in number 2 or number 1. The reason I put it in number 3 is because, again, popularity in the metagame, it means teams are more prepared. So this metagame development ends up reducing the effectiveness of Miraidon, right? It's because of Miraidon that I've seen an increase in Terra Ground Pokemon. I saw a Terra Ground Calyrex Ice Rider the other day. The only reason that's running that is to resist and to counter Miraidon, right? Now, because of that, that is why I put Miraidon at number 3. Now, don't get me wrong, this is still a very, very powerful Pokemon, right? When the metagame adapts so strongly to a Pokemon like that, it's because it's really, really strong, meaning you must be ready for it. The Choice Spec set is the most popular set, and you're looking at moves like Dazzling Gleam. You're looking at moves like Electro Drift. That's a must. Now, this Pokemon does a whole lot of damage. It's able to secure one-hit KOs that you need. It OHKOs Incineroar. It OHKOs most Zamazenta. If you go Terra Electric in electric terrain with the choice specs, with the Electro Drift, I don't think there's a lot of Zamazenta unless they're specifically EV to survive. I don't think there's a lot of Zamazenta that's going to live that attack. It's going to be doing a whole lot of damage. You have Volt Switch, which is huge. This is such a huge move for this Pokemon. A Pokemon that loves to have its terrain out. This gives you switching and pivoting potential, which can be huge, especially if you lead it and you find that you're not in a situation where you have terrain control. You can quickly Volt Switch, get out of there, and then reset and regroup to go on the attack later on. Now, Draco Meteor is a must. This is a must. I know that 90% is hard to stomach when you miss, but you need Draco Meteor over Dragon Pulse, because Dragon Pulse doesn't get you the one-hit KOs that Draco Meteor is going to get you. And sometimes getting that one-hit KO is worth risking that 90% and the special attack drop. Now, one thing that I've actually noticed, and I've actually used this, is that you can actually go for Discharge as opposed to going with Dazzling Gleam. Terra Electric Discharge is a powerful move in electric terrain. It's going to do a whole lot of damage. You can run Wide Guard on your Pelipper. You can run Wide Guard on your Lunala. Allow your Miraidon to just spam this attack. It has an increased chance to paralyze the opponents, which gives you speed, control, and potential for hacks. So yeah, Miraidon is really good. It's really good. I mean, it did win Worlds last year. It has been dominating a lot of events. So I think it's a Pokemon that you want to definitely keep an eye out for. What are the teammates that Miraidon likes to have? It likes to run with Calyrex Ice Rider. That Bolt Beam combo is really strong. Okay, it likes to run with Farigiraf to protect it from Fake Out. The Farigiraf often is going to be running Electric Sea to give it that defense boost. It likes to run with Pokemon like Lunala as well. Okay, believe it or not, Lunala with the Electric Seed will be really strong with this Pokemon. If you look at the Andrew Dink's team, I'm pretty sure he had Miraidon and Lunala with the Moon Room. Right, so Miraidon is really strong when paired with certain Pokemon. It's strong on its own, but that strength increases when it's paired with certain Pokemon. All right, now to the top two. At number 2, we have Lunala. Lunala has been so good recently, and you could run it in a myriad of ways. A lot of different ways you can run Lunala. You can run it with Ursaluna. There's good synergy there. Obviously, Ursaluna is weak to fighting types. Lunala just eats fighting types for breakfast. Okay, it can set up Trick Room. It can give you Wide Guard support. It's got good bulk with this broken ability called Shadow Shield, and the things that it fears in terms of the moves that OHKO it are only Dark and Ghost types, meaning if you're able to Terra correctly and in the right turn, there's almost nothing that's going to take you out in one shot from full health. There's almost nothing. You can go Terra Fairy, which is really good, obviously, because you're going to be resistant Dark type, right? The item is up to the team composition that you have. If you're running it with the Miraidon, like I mentioned before, you can always go with the Electric Sheet. This really makes it physically bulky, right? Almost all Lunala probably want to run Wide Guard, but I found on ladder that sometimes Lunala doesn't even need Wide Guard, just because of the threat of it having Wide Guard can sometimes force your opponent not to click, spread attacks like, Water Spout. Of course, I know Utrecht is going to be, is it Utrecht? Forgive me, but Utrecht is going to be open team sheet, so you're going to know obviously right off the bat that Lunala has Wide Guard or not, but often than not, having Wide Guard is pretty huge for the team. You want Trick Room as well, okay, to give you that slow mode, especially if you're going Moon Room. All right, Lunala really thrives on having access to moves like Trick Room. Moongeist Beam is pretty strong, and Moonblast as well, okay. Especially that Moonblast, that gives you a huge, especially if you go Terra Fairy, that's going to give you huge damage up against Pokemon like Urshifu Dark, up against Pokemon that want to try to, threaten with powerful Dark type moves or powerful Ghost type moves. You can Terra into Fairy, and you can hit those Pokemon for super effective damage. This is basically a Flutter Mane 2.0. maybe not as threatening in terms of damage. Actually, 137 is higher than Flutter Mane in terms of special attack. So with this Pokemon, you can always go quiet or modest, or you know, whatever your team is best suited for. You can always make Lunala fit. It's that flexible of a Pokemon, and that high HP stat with Shadow Shield is pretty impressive. Like, look at how high the HP goes up to 244. That's a lot of HP. All right, so like I said before, Ursaluna likes to pair up with this for the Moon Room combo. Miraidon likes to pair up with this to supply the electric terrain. You can always go with the power herb. Yep. You can always go with this. You can always sacrifice one of these moves for Meteor Beam, right? If you're running with Indeedee, you can go Expanding Force with Meteor Beam, right? That gives you something to hit Incineroar with, and then all of a sudden you're threatening with a lot of damage. +1 Expanding Force in terrain. If you don't have a dark type, I'm sorry, but yeah, you might just get blown back. All right, so definitely something to look out for. And that's how and why Lunala has made our top 2 and the number 2 spot. Now, for number 1, the most threatening Pokemon to watch out for heading into Utrecht. I'm sure you already know who this is, but this is the Calyrex Ice Rider. Why? I may be biased towards this Pokemon because I think it's really effective at what it does. But when you have a Pokemon that has this much bulk, 150 defense, 130 special defense. You look at Zamazenta. Zamazenta has 140, but with a 120 attack. But with Calyrex, you're boasting 165 attack. So it's like this thing's hitting like a truck. Okay, and of course, if you're looking for a Trick Room team and a Pokemon that's consistent in Trick Room, look no further than Calyrex Ice Rider. This guy does it for you. All right, this kind of bulk allows you to survive a lot of hits, and of course access to Terra typing. You can go Terra Water. I found Terra Water really annoying to break through. You can go Terra Fire to be able to avoid to be able to possess a lot of the defensive relationships that water gives you in terms of resisting steel, right? But you're also getting the added benefit of not being able to get burnt by opposing Pokemon. Right, so Calyrex Ice Rider, by far my favorite Pokemon to run in this, not just Regulation I, but Regulation G as well. So I may be a little bit biased, but I say watch out for this, because if you're not ready, you're going to get blown away. Okay, I've seen a lot of different sets. That's the beauty of this Pokemon. It's very, very flexible. You can run it in a full Trick Room team. You can run it in a mixed team, right? You can even run in Prison. Believe it or not, I've seen a few of these, and they absolutely, you put some speed on this, and you're absolutely walling the opposing Calyrex, right? Because you put in Prison, okay, you put Trick Room over here, you put Glacial Lance, and all of a sudden the opposing Calyrex Ice Rider can't do anything. It's just a dead slot. It can't even protect. All right, I mean, maybe it could protect because you're not running protect on this move set, but if you go with high horsepower, literally it can't do anything but just stand there and hope that's one of its opponents can take out this super bulky Pokemon. This Pokemon goes really well with Miraidon, really well. That Bolt Beam combo it's legendary for a reason. Anything that resists electric is getting hit super effectively by ice type moves. Okay, so if you're leading both Miraidon and Calyrex Ice Rider, there's not a lot of Pokemon that can resist both stabs. Okay, there's not a lot of Pokemon. Another Pokemon that runs really well with it is Kyogre. Of course, bringing the rain, it helps this ice type, protects it from fire type moves. Kyogre blows away the fire type Pokemon that would threaten Calyrex. But I found that synergistically, Miraidon and Calyrex are better together, just because of that Bolt Beam, right? When you look at Kyogre and Calyrex, if you run into a strong water type team, or a strong water type Pokemon like the Dondozo, right, you find really difficult to break through those Pokemon, especially if you're not running Thunder in your Kyogre. But with Miraidon, we're looking at strong electric attacks against that water type, and if it tears into grass, you're looking at strong ice attacks against that grass type, right? So yeah, guys, this is the top 10 Pokemon that you should definitely keep an eye out for heading into this weekend's regional championships. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to try to watch the whole thing, and I'm going to give you guys a video next week that's going to break down some of the top teams that performed well in the regionals. I do thank you guys for stopping by the channel and watching the video. Feel free to check out this video on the left, this video on the right as well. And always feel free to hit your boy with that subscribe button and a like if you like this kind of content. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.